I'm Alice the Fabric Ninja, here with the EverSewn Sparrow X2, which is a combination sewing and embroidery machine. This video is all about the app that goes along with the X2, so let's get it loaded up. When you open the app, you get that beautiful splash page. If this is your first time opening the app, you will get several other screens that tell you about the app as you move through them. The last page, you'll click check mark, and then it will finish loading the app. This is the page you see when you first open the app. We have patterns, text, input files, and more designs. This app allows your device to control the embroidery unit on the machine. So let me give you a quick tour so you can see where everything is and so you can make beautiful projects. Let's start out with patterns. The app comes preloaded with so many beautiful designs. I'm just going to click all designs, and then on the side you can scroll down to see all the designs. There are so many great options included. Up here in the corner you can click to change how the design is displayed. It's a toggle switch. Click once so that you can see the designs large and closer, or click it again and you will be able to go back to the original view. And of course, at any time that you see a design you like, you can click it to learn a bunch more information about it. While we're here, let's talk about what this page can show us. Every embroidery design is going to have this information page, which includes the number of stitches in the design. This generally tells you how long it's going to take to stitch out. Then we have the size of the design. And next we have these two other parts here. We have a hoop and then a 4, and then some layers and a 6. What do those mean? Well, the hoop and the 4 means how many colors there are. And the layer and the 6 means how many times we change the thread color. So down here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 thread changes. And here we go back and forth between the orange and the red. Although sometimes you can skip from the color you're on to the next time that that color is used. Sometimes there's a reason that they are in that order, particularly if one color needs to be laid over the top of another. When in doubt, do what the file says and it will turn out just fine. If you're done with this design and want to look at another, just click the back arrow. However, if you're ready to move forward with this design, click the pencil in the upper right-hand corner, which means Edit, and then you'll be able to see the design on the hoop. These screens are the same for any design that you choose to do, so I'm going to walk you through them with the mushroom design. Our first option on the bottom is Move. You can move the design around the hoop area by clicking it with your finger and dragging. If you go outside the embroidery area, it will give you a warning and the hoop will turn red. You'll need to move it back inside before you can embroider it. The green circles around the design have a number of different functions. First, we have this one. It's Rotate. It allows you to turn the design any amount you wish. It's particularly good if your design only fits one direction on the smaller hoop. The double-ended arrows on this corner allow you to resize your design, but there is a limit to how much larger or smaller you can make it because embroidery designs are designed to be made a specific size, and they have the right number of stitches for that size. So if you make it too much larger, you won't have enough stitches, and if you make it too small, you will have too many stitches and it will be very dense. The 3 dots on the corner allow you to gather all your designs as one, trash your design, or duplicate it. This is super helpful if you want more than one of one thing on your hoop, such as lots of stars. Now that we have 2 motifs or 2 mushrooms, I can select the All button, and now they are bound together and move as one. Up at the top, you can use the Back or Undo button if you don't like the last thing you did. You can go back and back and back quite a ways. And if you're really not happy with what you have, you can always just trash it and start over. Continuing along the menus at the bottom, the next one is Preview. That requires being connected to your embroidery machine, so we're going to skip it for now. Hoop allows you to change the size of the hoop. I'm going to stick this on a smaller hoop and you can see it doesn't fit. But you can rotate your file, and I know this one was a lot smaller when it started, so shrinking is okay. Next up is View. View allows you to see the design in several different ways. You can get quite close to it, and then even more close to it to see the individual stitches. The last option allows you to add grid lines. You can compare these grid lines to the grid lines on the plastic overlay for your hoop. Click on the small green arrow at the bottom to move back to the main menu. The bottom menu continues to the side. There's a little arrow you press on and it gives you even more menu options. Patterns is a way you can add more motifs to what you already have on your design hoop. Let's say I want to add a flower. This is a beautiful one. I'm going to click on the pencil in the top right corner to add it to my hoop as well. Whoa, that's close up. Let's back up so we can see what's going on. I'm going to go over and press hoop and then select my hoop. There we go. We can see what's going on now, but I'm going to need a bigger hoop. That's better. By clicking on the design and moving it with my finger, I'm separating them so you can see both. So now that we're in this mode, I wanted to show you that we have a couple of more options. The arrows down at the bottom here allow me to move the design little bit by little bit, where you might not be able to actually do that with your finger on your device. The mark on the bottom, which is a bunch of arrows pointing towards the center, that means to center a design. And well, you can't see it right now because the flowers are in the way. Let me move stuff. Okay, now I'm going to press it again, and it will take the design to the exact center of my hoop. The last two options are mirroring horizontal and mirroring vertically. This is really great if you want two designs bracketing another. Having them be mirror images really makes a great look. Let me show you how that looks with the flower. I am going to get rid of the mushroom here. Then I'm going to click on the flower, make a copy of it first, and then click mirror image. So now I have two and they're mirror images, but it's kind of hard to see. So I'm going to rotate them 90 degrees and then move one out of the way and rotate the other one. Oh, don't those look nice? The mirror image is just a really good effect. I'm going to briefly flip it back here so you can see what they would look like if they're not mirrored. Yeah, they look better as mirror images. They are symmetrical, they are balanced. It's good this way. This is just one example of the many reasons to use this feature. I'm going to press back at the top. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. It's a really easy mistake to make. So I'm just going to click the X on the upper right hand corner, and then I can use the bottom arrow to get back to the next menu. So again, at the bottom, we can use the arrow to move sideways, and now we can add some text. So I'm going to add the name Violet to this design. That's all in uppercase, but of course we can change the text as well. So let's go back and delete these letters. Now I'm going to drop it into lowercase using this button in the corner, and then type out the name again. So this font is Times, but I can also change it to Franklin. I can also change the size right above it, making it larger and larger or smaller and smaller. You can also move the word around to make sure it's the right size for your project. I'm pretty happy with my text, so I'm going to X out, and oh no, my text went away. Yeah, that's because I have to press OK when I'm actually done. So let's write those words again, get them the right size, and this time, press OK. Once you press OK, the text is all one piece, so you can treat it like any other motif, turning it, duplicating it, but don't change the size much. You should have done that before you pressed OK. Now, if I press this symbol, which is like half scissor, half text, it's going to divide the word into separate pieces. So each letter is going to be its own motif and can be moved or duplicated separately. Being able to change letters individually is great if you're doing monograms, or in this case, we're just going to make the letters look a bit jaunty. Over in the move section, I can move each letter using those arrows because in this case, my fingers are too big to really move the letters with the control they need. Plus, I'm actually doing this on my cell phone, not a tablet, so there's not as much screen as there could be to be able to have that fine control. So let's continue to explore the options on the bottom. Down here is the color button, one of my favorite. This allows you to change the color of anything on your design. Right now I have the color set to Isocord, but there's actually a lot of different brands to choose from. If you have a particular brand of thread at home, you might as well pick it so you can use the color numbers that you have. I don't focus so much on the exact thread colors. I like using this feature of the app as a way to debut different color options. Because I have several different brands of thread, I just pick a color that looks similar, and then I put that in place of the color that's currently there to see if I like it. So first you click on the color that you're looking to change, and then you find the color you want to change it to. Then just click on that color and you can see what it'll look like. That purple or more magenta looks really good. Now I'm going to click on some of the other colors and play with them. What could this yellow be? Ooh, yikes. Nope, brown is not the right color for that, but it does look good as yellow or gold. Don't forget that along the top there are the undo buttons or back buttons, so you can undo any decisions that you make and get back to where you were very quickly. If you are a lover of monochrome, you can use this button here to change everything to one color. Now this design does not look good as one color, but there's a number of them that really do. Let's back up and undo that. Down here we have an A to B button, which means that you can change the brand of thread that they're using, then press A to B and it will change the color numbers to the color numbers of that brand. I'm going to click back so I'm back at the previous page, and now we have our two different color flowers right here on the design. Next up is sequence. Every motif that is on your hoop is represented by an item here in the sequence. Because we broke all the letters apart in our name, each one of them is represented as a different piece. One reason you might want to move them around is, say 3 of the letters in our name are going to be the same color. You might put them together to make it easier for you to sew them out. Next over here is basting. It's just a toggle on and off, and you'll see a very thin line appear. It's a larger basting stitch that goes around the edge of your project that holds your stabilizer and fabric together. I suggest that you always have basting on. When I'm looking at sequence, you can see that square on the top is our basting square. If I turn basting off, we can look at the sequence again and the basting square is gone. The basting square in your color selection will be represented as black. Your machine will tell you to put black in first because of this. I always just skip to the next color because the basting square is coming out anyway and it really doesn't matter what color it is. There's one more thing I would do before sending this design to the machine. I'm going to select every part of it, then I'm going to go down to move and then select all of those arrows that point together, which means center. It means my whole design is centered now, so I can mark my fabric with a crosshatch where the center of the design should go. Then I can overlay the plastic part with a grid to make sure that my fabric is centered in the hoop, which means that everything will end up in the center exactly where I want it. Now that we have our design theoretically ready to go to the machine, we could press send to machine up here. My mobile device is not currently connected to my embroidery machine, so what I'm going to do instead is press save. I'm going to save this file so I can work on it at a later time. I can actually work on it anywhere and anytime. I don't have to be at home and I don't have to be near my sewing machine. That is one of the great things about using an embroidery machine with an app instead of a built-in design software. So one thing we haven't talked about here is this little green tab on the side. This is where you connect the app to your machine, and it's also where you control the embroidery function settings. Watch this part carefully because there's a lot of great settings that you can change to make your life easier. Thread cutting settings. This has to do with when your machine uses its built-in thread cutter, either with jump stitches and how long those jump stitches would be, or at the end of thread colors, or when the whole design is finished. You get to decide. Everything here is a personal preference. You may find that some settings work better for you and the embroideries that you make. Auto lock is great, and I choose to always have it on. It makes a couple of stitches in the same spot that keeps your thread from pulling out either at the beginning of a color or the end of a color. The upper thread sensor is a toggle. It's either on or off, and I like having this one on because it tells me if my top thread gets broken. Now the bobbin sensor. I like starting with it on, but when I start to run out of bobbin thread, it will beep and stop the machine. At that point, I like to turn it off and stand by my machine while I let it continue stitching. When I get that first stitch or two without bobbin thread, I stop the machine and then insert a new bobbin and back the machine up to take care of those couple missed stitches. It's a great way that you can use the end of that bobbin thread and not waste any, but you do have to stay by the machine. The text zoom limitation has to do with how much larger or smaller you can change a design. That's because, as we mentioned before, designs are meant to be made in a certain size, and so it limits how much you can change it. If a design gets changed too much, you will have a problem with density, either too dense or not enough stitches. This part down at the bottom just gives you a little bit more information about the software. It tells you what version of app you're using, any firmware that has been changed, and gives you an opportunity to reset all of the settings on this app to factory original. I'm going to arrow back on the top, and here is our design. And I'm actually going to go all the way back to the beginning so we can take a look at the My Designs folder. You can see I already have some designs in here, but I want to teach you how to put your own designs in here. Before I jump into the next thing, I wanted to cover the text option here, which is just if you are only creating text to go into the hoop, you can do it here. And the More Designs option tells you a bit more about all the different file types you can use in this app. And then it will take you to this website where you can buy other embroidery designs. This is literally just one of many places that you can get embroidery designs. Now we have input files. Pressing input files takes you to the file storage within your device, your tablet, your phone, whatever you're using, and any other places that you may store your files that your device has access to. Clicking on this little hamburger menu at the top, you can see what your phone has access to. These are the files that are on your internal storage or an SD card that you have in your phone, but it's also files that you may have on your Google Drive, your iCloud, or your Dropbox. A lot of this is dependent upon how you have your devices set up. Personally, I just use a Google Drive. It's really easy for me. On my Google Drive, I have a folder named Embroidery, and I put things in it that I want to use on my embroidery machine. That makes them easily accessible on my phone. I just pick the file, it loads it into the machine, I press the pencil edit button, and there it is. I'm ready to stitch it out. Or press save, and it will be in the My Designs folder. If you wanted to add another design to your hoop, you can go to Patterns and then go from there. So what I'm going to do now is walk you through the process of getting it onto your phone or device. I know you can already see that I have some here, but how did they get here? I totally understand. So let's start from the beginning. EverSewn has created some lovely, adorable patch designs. Look at that fox mermaid. Seriously, so cute. On this page, you can scroll down and you'll see free design download. Awesome. That's exactly what we want. But you can also check out the page for information about the materials that they're using and the process by which they're making these patches. In this blog post, they're showing things on the EverSewn Hero, which is one of their other embroidery machines. So things work a little bit different. Like they have a USB drive that they would take designs onto their machine with, whereas we're using an app. But all the other information, like remembering to line up your hoop properly, using a water-soluble stabilizer, and how to make up this patch design is absolutely true. It's going to stitch out a circle, and then you're going to lay on your material. So this is an applique. You cut away from it, and you stitch out your design, and then you remove the water-soluble stabilizer, and you have these cute patches. So you can still use the general directions here to have an idea of how this design is set up. So let's click Free Design Download. Right here, we can see it downloaded the zip file. So here is my zip file. It's just in my downloads folder, and I need to expand this or extract it. I can right click on it and press extract all, or I can double click and see what's inside. Both are an option, and then you can press extract all at the top here. I'm going to put this in my downloads folder just for the ease of it, but I highly suggest that you have an embroidery file folder so you can keep things straight. Back in my downloads, you can see the zip file, and you can also see the one that we have extracted, and here are all the files. On the side, mine don't have an icon, but if you have software like Embroidery downloaded, it may have an icon there because you have a program on your machine that will open these. If you don't have one of those, it's just going to be blank because your machine doesn't have anything that's going to be able to use it. I pressed escape there to get out of that menu. So now that I have these files there, I want them on my phone, right? I want them on my tablet. I want to be able to get these onto my embroidery machine. So one way you can do it is connect your device to your computer using your USB cord and then moving these files there. But I am going to put them on my Google Drive. So I am in my Google Drive. I'm going to create a new folder just for embroidery. Going to New, then New Folder, and I'm going to type in embroidery. So now I have a folder that's going to be for all my embroidery files. I'm going to double click on it to open it, and it's empty. Awesome. New File Upload. Now I'm going to go to my downloads where I was. Here's the folder with all those designs, and I can pick to just put one in there, the one that I want, or I can put them all in. I'm going to put the Mer Fox in there. It's uploading my design, and now it's there. So we can go back to the X2 app and see if it's there. Back in the X2 app, I'm going to press Input Files, and it goes back to the last place I was, which happens to be not where I put them. So clicking on the hamburger menu at the top, you will see all of the things that you have access to, and I already have that Google Drive set up on my phone, so it's super easy for me to get to. But if you are using Dropbox or any of the other apps, you will find their connection in this menu here and the folder that they use. I used this right here, so I'm going to click on my Fabric Ninja drive, and I'm going to click on my drive so I can see what's in it. And then up here at the top, I have the different folders. I'm going to click on Embroidery, and you can see that's the file we just added. I click on it there, and now I have this adorable Mer Fox that I can actually make on my embroidery machine. I'm going to click the pencil to do the edits if I wish, and I can work through it just like I did before, changing any colors if I'm feeling it. Maybe we'll give him a, what color tail might he like? Green is beautiful, but what if it was blue? That is super cute too. I just love being able to play with the different colors. You don't actually have to arrow down with your finger. You can actually use the slider at the side, and it really does go much more quickly. Once you're happy, press save. And then, of course, you can send it to the machine once you're connected. I hope you enjoyed learning about your EverSewn X2 sewing machine today. It may feel a little bit daunting, but I always suggest just get one project under your belt first. Just give it a go. You will learn so much the first time you try something. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Alice the Fabric Ninja, and I'm here with EverSewn Sparrow X2, teaching you how to get this out of the box and into your life.